The sky was calm. Clouds floated gently over the city of Vancouver. People walked in parks, children played near the river, and shops buzzed with normal life. No one expected the world to change that day, but above the clouds, something was coming, thousands of kilometers above Earth. Space rippled. A black hole opened for just 3 seconds. From it, a massive alien warship came through, long, sharp, and silent. Behind it, more ships followed. Dozens, hundreds, all shaped like spears in the dark. Inside the largest ship, Supreme Commander Zorak watched Earth through a wide glass window. His skin was pale green, his eyes cold and glowing. "They don't even see us," he said. "Of course not," his advisor hissed. "They are primitive, their world is soft, their people are slow. This will be easy," Zorak smiled. "Another planet to add to our empire." He pressed a button on his console. A transmission started, translated into over 100 human languages. "People of Earth, you are now part of the Dravak Empire. Surrender all governments, weapons, and technology. Resistance will lead to destruction." The message was broadcast across satellites, televisions, phones, every device connected to Earth systems. Within 10 minutes, the entire world had heard it, but Earth didn't respond. No message. No surrender. Nothing. In the White House, deep inside the war room, General Hayes stared at the screen. "They just declared war on the human race," said quietly. President Lewis stood beside him. "What's our plan?" The general turned to her. "We don't respond yet. We let them believe we're weak." The president nodded once. "Good, let's give them silence." In orbit, the Dravak fleet waited. They scanned Earth's surface, searching for signs of fear or panic. Zorak grew annoyed. "Still no answer?" "None," the technician replied. "Shall we begin the invasion?" "No," Zorak said. "Send a scout ship. Show them our power. First, make them kneel." Minutes later, a sleek Dravak scout ship descended from orbit toward a remote mountain region in Alaska. It hovered, humming like thunder. Then it exploded. A single missile had struck it from below. No warning, no visible base. Just a quiet launch and total destruction. Back in space, Zorak stared in shock. What was that? His advisor stuttered. "An attack, from the ground." "We didn't see the weapon," Zorak laughed. "Interesting, so they do have claws." On Earth, in an underground facility hidden beneath a forest, Colonel Mason stood before a group of soldiers. "They just lost a scout ship," he said. "They think we're weak. Good, let them think it." The room was filled with men and women. In black armor, some were from America, others from Russia, China, India, Nigeria, and Brazil. Flags didn't matter here, Colonel Mason continued. These aliens have crushed hundreds of worlds, but they made a mistake. They came to Earth. We are not like the others. Back in orbit, the Dravak Empire started to act. "Send down a full battalion," Zorak ordered. "Land in Sector 12, Northern Forest Region. Burn everything." Within hours, over 50 Dravak dropships entered Earth's atmosphere. Trees trembled as fire rained from the sky. Alien soldiers, tall, armored, with plasma rifles, marched out and scanned the forests. But they were not alone. Hidden in the shadows, camouflaged soldiers waited. Drones buzzed silently above the treetops. Mines were buried deep beneath the snow. When the Dravak moved forward, the ground exploded. Gunfire echoed through the forest. Railguns shredded alien armor. EMP bursts disabled the Dravak shields. Within minutes, Earth's ambush had wiped out the front lines. The surviving aliens fell back, but there was nowhere to run. From the trees, a strange voice echoed through hidden speakers. "You are not welcome here. You started this. Now you will learn." One Dravak captain tried to flee, but was tackled by a human exosuit. He screamed as he was dragged into the snow. Later, aboard the main mothership, Zorak. Listen to the report. 22 ships lost. 85 ground units destroyed. 1 captain taken alive. Zorak's face grew dark. They fight harder than expected. His advisor stepped back nervously. They are not like the others. They are organized, strategic, cold. Zorak said nothing for a moment. Then he leaned forward. Send more troops. I want the cities under control. Burn their defenses. The advisor hesitated. Commander, what if this planet is different? Zorak's eyes narrowed. Then we make it the same. But deep below Earth's surface, in a dark chamber, lit only by red lights, scientists and generals watched the captured Dravak captain. He was restrained, still unconscious. Dr. Elena Yusuf spoke to the room. We are not just fighting. She pointed at the alien on the screen. We are learning. General Hayes looked at her. Do we have time? She smiled coldly. We make time. Across the galaxy, signals started to echo. The Dravak's silence was broken. Other alien races, those who had suffered and lost, heard strange whispers. Earth has resisted. Dravak ships destroyed. A human war has begun. Hope something long dead began to flicker. But on Earth, there was no celebration. No joy. Only silence and preparation. Because humanity knew this was just the beginning. And if the Dravak wanted a war. They were going to get one. Snow fell quietly in northern Canada. The trees stood tall, covered in white. Everything looked peaceful from above. But below the surface, inside a hidden military base, alarms were ringing. Colonel Mason stood in the control room, staring at the large screen. They're landing again, he said. How many? A soldier asked. 14 Dravak dropships, Mason replied. This time they're not sending scouts. They're sending an army. The soldiers in the room didn't panic. They knew what was coming. They had trained for it their entire lives. The enemy was stronger, faster, more advanced, but they were not human. And that was the Dravak's first mistake. The dropships came down like fire from the sky. Trees burned. Snow melted, ground cracked. The alien soldiers stepped out tall, armored with glowing eyes and sharp weapons. Their leader, Captain Vorak, pointed toward the forest. Take it. Kill anything that moves. The Dravak forces spread out in perfect lines. Their scanner showed no life nearby. Just ice and trees, empty, said one soldier. Weak planet. Captain Vorak laughed. They hide, like cowards. But 2 steps later, the ground exploded. Hidden mines tore through the front line. Trees opened like doors, revealing Earth soldiers in advanced camouflage armor. Bullets and railgun slugs flew through the air. A Dravak soldier turned to fire, but a drone zipped past him and detonated. His body slammed into a rock. Ambush. Captain Vorak shouted. Too late. The humans moved fast, too fast. Small teams of 3 or 4 attacked from every direction. They didn't fire wildly. They aimed. They killed. Then they vanished again into the trees. Inside the Earth base, Colonel Mason watched the battle on screen. Phase 1 complete, a tech officer said. We've hit them hard. Keep pressure, Mason replied. Don't let them regroup. Yeah. Walked into the armory where another squad waited. You're up, he told them. One of the soldiers, Lieutenant Rosa, grinned. Let's go make them bleed. Captain Vorak ducked behind a burning tree. Plasma shots flew above him. His unit was down to half strength. He had never seen such fast, silent attackers. They're just humans, he shouted. Then he saw one. A soldier stepped out of the smoke. Small, only 1.5 meters tall, helmet shining in the firelight. The human didn't speak. He raised a weapon long and strange and fired. Vorak's shield flared, then died. Pain shot through his side. He screamed and fell. When Vorak woke, he was inside a cage, cold metal. Low lights. A strange hum in the air. He tried to move, but Energy walls kept him in place outside the cell. Human scientists stood watching. One of them, a woman with short gray hair, tapped a screen. "This one's still alive," she said. "Good," said another. "We need data," Vorak growled. "You'll pay for this. The Empire will burn your planet." Dr. Elena Yusuf looked at him calmly. "You already tried. And now you're here in a cage. Who's winning?" Back at the crash site, Earth soldiers gathered the wounded and checked the field. Lieutenant Rosa stood over a broken Dravik rifle. "They're strong," she said, "but not smart." A young soldier beside her nodded. "They expected us to run, not fight." Rosa smiled. "That's what makes us dangerous." Suddenly, a small sound came from the trees. Everyone raised their weapons. Out stepped a single alien wounded. "Hands up, don't shoot." It cried in broken English, "I surrender." The soldiers stared in shock. "Did he just?" one whispered. Rosa stepped forward. "Take him alive." They did, and it wasn't the last one. Inside the Dravak mothership, Commander Zorak received the battle report. His face grew pale. 80% losses? He asked. "Yes, Commander," the advisor said. "They were waiting. They planned every step. And the captain? Captured." Zorak slammed his fist against the table. "They are not supposed to be this strong." The advisor hesitated. "They are not just strong, sir. They are angry." Zorak turned to face the stars. "This planet, Earth, is different." In the hidden human base, the captured aliens were kept alive, fed, observed, studied. But the most important thing wasn't their bodies, it was their fear. One by one, Dravak soldiers began to break. Some screamed, some begged, and some talked. They told the humans about Dravak technology, about tactics, weak points, command structure, even the location of other enemy fleets. Dr. Yusuf looked at Colonel Mason. "We don't just have prisoners," she said. "We have keys." "Good," Mason replied. "We'll open every door." In a press briefing hidden from public view, General Hayes spoke with military leaders from around the world. "This is our first full victory," he said. "The first real battle, and we won." Someone asked, "What happens now?" "General." Hayes paused. Then he answered, "Now we hit back." In orbit, far from Earth's surface, a tiny signal beeped silently from a cloaked satellite. One human stealth ship received it. Inside, a small crew suited up. No uniforms, no flags. Just grim eyes and deadly skill. The pilot looked at the others. "We go tonight?" "Yes," the leader replied. "Let's show them what first blood really means." And with that, the ship turned toward the stars. The enemy, the war had begun, but now it was humanity's turn to strike. In deep space, the Dravak mothership floated silently above Earth. Inside the command deck, Supreme Commander Zorak stood frozen. His glowing eyes stared at the screen showing a battlefield report. 3 battalions, gone, dozens of ships, destroyed. And one of his best captains captured. "This is not war," Zorak whispered. "This is something else." His advisor stepped forward slowly. "The humans planned this. They're using tactics we've never seen before. They are primitive." Zorak shouted. "They should be running in fear." But they weren't. Instead, the humans were fighting like monsters. Fast, smart, brutal. Every move had meaning. Every trap was perfect. The advisor lowered his voice. "We underestimated them. And now we are bleeding." On Earth, far beneath the Canadian mountains, Colonel Mason walked down a long hallway with Dr. Elena Yusuf. They stopped in front of a locked steel door. Behind that door, 3 captured Dravak soldiers sat in separate cells. One of them, Captain Vorak, stared silently at the wall. Mason folded his arms. "Has he talked?" Dr. Yusuf nodded. "Not much, but the younger one did. Enough to confirm our theory." "What theory?" Dr. Yusuf touched a control panel. A screen lit up, showing videos, dozens of them. All from Earth's history. All showing wars. Human history, she said, is one long story of war, from swords and arrows to bombs and lasers. We've been preparing for a threat like this for thousands of years. Mason nodded slowly. So this isn't a surprise for us. No, she said. It's a test we've already trained for. Far above Earth, inside a dark room aboard the human stealth ship Whisper, a small team reviewed blueprints of the Dravak fleet. Lieutenant Ochoa pointed at a glowing part of the mothership's engine. This is their weak spot, he said. The prisoner told us about their power core. If we hit it right, it'll shut down the entire ship. The others stared at him. Is this real intel? One asked. Yeah, Ochoa said. They gave it to us freely. They're scared. The leader, a woman known only as Vega, leaned forward. Scared enough to betray their own? No, Ochoa replied. Scared enough to survive. Back in the underground base, Dr. Yusuf sat across from Captain Vorak. He still refused to speak. You think silence makes you strong, she said. Vorak glared at her. You will all die. She didn't blink. Maybe, but not today. She stood and showed him a small tablet screen. On it, a map of the galaxy appeared, highlighting Dravak bases. Some were blinking red. What is this? Vorak demanded. Dr. Yusuf smiled. Your people talk more than you think, and now we know where to aim. At the United Earth Command Center, leaders from different countries gathered around a table. General Hayes stood in front of them. Let's be clear, he said. We're not just defending Earth now. A map showed dozens of planets marked as Dravak-controlled. These worlds were taken, Hayes said. Their people enslaved. Their voices silenced, and now they're watching us fight back. One commander asked, Do we help them? Hayes nodded. We do more than help, we lead. In the Dravak mothership, alarms blared. New breach, an officer shouted. Portside hull compromised. Commander Zorak ran to the screen. A human stealth ship had snuck past their outer defenses. Explosions were flashing deep inside the ship. Zorak growled. How? How did they get in? His advisor turned pale. They knew our layout. They knew the patrol schedule. It's like they studied us. Zorak's voice dropped. They're not fighting like a species protecting their world. They're fighting like hunters. He finally understood. Earth wasn't reacting. Earth was planning. Back in the forest near Vancouver, Lieutenant Rosa's squad found another crashed Dravak ship. This one was smaller. Inside, they found something strange. A group of Dravavka children, young, scared, hiding. One of the human soldiers raised his weapon, but Rosa stopped him. No, she said, we're not monsters. They gave the children food, water, heat. Later, when asked why, Rosa only said one thing. If we lose our soul while fighting, then we've already lost. The battle reports spread across the galaxy. Alien species, those once ruled by fear-heard whispers. Humans are fighting back. The Dravak are losing. Earth might win. In quiet corners of distant worlds, resistance groups began to rise. They painted the same symbol on walls and ships. A single blue planet. Earth. In the command room of the stealth ship Whisper. The crew listened to the explosion echo through their speakers. Direct hit, the pilot confirmed. Their power core is down. Lieutenant Ochoa smiled. That's one ship they won't get back. Commander Vega turned to the stars. Let's move to the next one. In a secured Earth lab, Dr. Yusuf looked through notes, blueprints, and translation logs. She turned to Mason. There's more, she said. We're starting to understand their tech. It's better, but less flexible. Mason raised an eyebrow. Meaning, we adapt faster, she said. We learn in days what takes them years. She paused, then added, we may not be the strongest, but we are the most dangerous. Mason nodded. Good, then let's prove it. On the Dravak homeworld, deep in the Empire's capital, a message was received. It came from a quiet probe near Jupiter. Simple, clear, in Dravak language. Your secrets are ours now. You wanted to study us, but we studied you first. The room fell silent, and in that silence, fear grew. Because now, the Dravak finally understood. They hadn't just invaded a planet. They had awakened a species that learns. The Pacific Ocean was calm. Waves rolled gently under the silver light of the moon. But above, hidden in the stars, something deadly moved. A giant Dravak mothership hovered quietly above Earth's atmosphere. It was called Devourer, one of the most feared warships in the Dravak fleet. It had destroyed 7 planets, burned entire cities from orbit. And now, it watched Earth like a hawk. Inside the ship, Supreme Commander Zorak stood in front of a large hologram of the planet. They are resisting, he said coldly. More than expected, his advisor nodded. They've destroyed 3 scout fleets. Our troops are pulling back in most areas. Zorak narrowed his eyes. Then we remind them who rules the stars. Far below, in a secret human base near the Mariana Trench, a stealth submarine named Black Echo received a coded signal. Lieutenant Carr studied the message carefully. They found the mothership. He said. Captain Rhea stood behind him. Coordinates? Just above the Western Pacific, Carr replied. Low orbit. They're watching us. Captain Rhea didn't blink. Time to hit back. She turned to her team. Get the payload ready. In orbit, on board the Dravak ship, alarms suddenly lit up. Unidentified object rising from ocean surface, a technician shouted. Fast, small, cloaked, what is it? Zorak snapped. Can't track it properly. Human tech. Before he could finish, a sharp explosion rocked the ship. The lights flickered. Systems crashed. Zorak held onto a rail as the floor shook. What? Just hit us. Far below, Captain Rhea watched the ocean ripple as their torpedo detonated above the surface. That was a direct hit on their lower shield array. Lieutenant Carr confirmed. We opened a hole. Rhea gave a sharp nod. Phase 2. Send the boarding team. From a nearby human orbital platform, a black dropship launched at full speed. Its name, Ghost Knife. It carried 6 of the best Earth operatives trained in silence, in war, and in killing aliens. Their leader, Major Kim, looked at his team. No backup, he said. No rescue. If we fail, we die. But if we succeed, we bring that monster down. One of the soldiers smirked. Then let's make it count. The ship flew toward the weak point in the mothership's hull. It vanished into the darkness. Inside the Dravak command bridge, emergency lights turned red. We've been breached. A guard shouted. Unknown team entering through the port wing. Zorak clenched his fists. Seal all sectors. Kill them. But it was too late. Major Kim and his team were already inside, moving fast. Silenced rifles. Explosive charges. Every corner they cleared left alien bodies behind. They moved with perfect timing. One team. One heartbeat. Target is close, said Sergeant Lin, checking her scanner. Core room is 80 meters ahead. Kim nodded. We go in quiet. Place the charge. Get out. They turned the corner and found a squad of Dravak soldiers waiting. Trap! Someone yelled. BLASTERS lit up the hallway. 2 humans went down instantly. Kim dove behind cover, rolled, and threw a flash grenade. For 2 seconds, everything went white. Then came the silence and the smell of burnt armor. Move! Kim shouted. They stormed the hallway, reached the core chamber, and locked the door. In the center of the room, the power core glowed, pulsing with blue energy. Kim took a deep breath. Lin, set the bomb. She nodded and ran to the core. As she worked, Kim placed a hand on the wall. He could feel the vibration. The ship was alive. But not for long. 30 seconds, Lin said. Back on Earth, the sky lit up. The mothership, still hovering silently, began to tilt. People from Tokyo to Los Angeles saw the massive shadow in the clouds. Starting to fall. In the United Nations Control Center, General Hayes received the signal. The charge is placed, an operator said. Extraction failed. Team went dark. Hayes lowered his head for a second, then stood tall. Confirmed detonation. In orbit, the power core exploded. From the inside, a wave of fire and light tore through the mothership systems. On the bridge, Zorak screamed as the walls collapsed. "We are falling!" someone shouted. "No," Zorak growled. "No, but nothing could stop it now." The great Devourer champion of the Drevik fleet cracked into pieces as it entered Earth's atmosphere. It lit the night sky like a dying star, and then it vanished into the sea. Underwater, Captain Rhea watched the sonar. "Impact confirmed," Carr said. "Multiple debris fields. The ship is gone." Rhea stared at the screen in silence. "They gave their lives," she said quietly, "to turn the tide." Across the planet, people saw the fireball and cheered. In homes, on rooftops, in bunkers, they shouted, cried, and raised their fists. They had lost much, but now they had hope. In a hidden lab, Dr. Yusuf watched the explosion replayed on a loop. A child from one of the alien refugee species pointed at the screen. "Was that them?" the child asked. "Yes," she replied. "That was our enemy." The child looked up at her, and the people who stopped it. She smiled softly. Humans. In the dark corners of the galaxy, alien resistance groups saw the same footage. The unstoppable ship falling, the humans rising. And in those corners, something dangerous began to grow. Not fear. Courage. On a broken moon in the Drevak system, Commander Zorak's final message played across a damaged tower. In a weak voice, he said, "We thought they were simple. We thought they were soft. But humans don't break. They fight." The screen went dark. The war was no longer one-sided. It had reached its turning point. The world had changed. Just days ago, the skies belonged to the enemy. Drevak ships hovered over cities like vultures. People lived in fear, waiting, hiding, praying. But now, everything was different, because Earth had done the impossible. They had brought down a Drevak mothership, and that moment changed everything. Inside the Earth Defense Command bunker in Greenland, General Hayes stood in front of a giant digital map. Red dots showed enemy positions. Blue dots showed something new. Human fleets. Real ones. He turned to the room. "We don't run anymore," Hayes said. "Now we strike." Across the world, the same order echoed. From spaceports on the moon to deep-sea silos beneath the Atlantic, Earth began to move. Ships rose. Weapons warmed. And for the first time in history, humanity launched a counterattack in space. In low orbit, a massive ship named Spearhead led the human fleet. It wasn't beautiful. It wasn't perfect. But it was deadly. Inside, Commander Vega looked at the crew. "This is it," she said. Drevak ship spotted near Saturn. Smaller than the last one, but still dangerous. One pilot spoke. "We going in full force?" Vega smiled coldly. "No. We go in human style. Quick, messy, and with everything we've got." Far beyond Earth, near Saturn's rings, a Drevak cruiser drifted in silence. Its captain, Kavor, was watching Earth broadcasts stolen from human satellites. He watched as people cheered the mothership's fall, as children waved Earth flags, as news channels repeated one sentence, "Earth fights back." Kavor hissed. In anger, "Arrogant creatures," he muttered. "One lucky strike, and they think they're gods." But he didn't know that something was already coming for him. Something fast, something human. The Spearhead arrived without warning. It burst out from Saturn's shadow, followed by 5 smaller fighters. Kavor jumped to his feet. Shields up, return fire. Lasers tore through space. The Drevak ship tried to move, but the humans were too fast, too unpredictable. They didn't follow standard tactics. They used turns, dives, and surprise angles that confused even the ship's AI. On the spearhead, Commander Vega shouted over comms, "Disable their engines. I want it floating." Within seconds, a railgun shot tore into the Dravak's rear thrusters. Sparks flew. The ship began to spin. Kovare's crew panicked. "They're inside our blind spot." "Adjust rotation. It's too late," Kavor growled. Prepared to self-destruct, but before he could give the order, the lights went dark. The humans had jammed their systems. Back on Earth, the world watched live. News anchors couldn't believe it. "For the first time ever," one reporter said, "Earth has taken a fight beyond our skies, and we're winning." People cheered in cafes, markets, even underground shelters. In Tokyo, a teenager pointed at the screen. "That's our ship," he whispered. In Nairobi, an old man smiled. "We're not just defending anymore. We're hunting." Inside a secret lab near Geneva, Dr. Yusuf stood beside a hologram of the Dravak fleet. New data streamed in from the captured cruiser. "They're built for dominance," she explained. "Not for creativity. That's their weakness." Beside her, Colonel Mason nodded. "And our strength?" she smiled. "Chaos." On the moon, engineers worked around the clock. Inside Lunar Base Echo, a new fleet was being built using stolen Dravak tech. Hybrid engines, adaptive shields, AI-assisted cannons. One mechanic wiped sweat from his forehead. "We're building something they've never seen before." His partner laughed. "We are something they've never seen before." Back in space, the battle near Saturn ended. The Dravak ship drifted silent, powerless. Commander Vega's voice echoed through the enemy's comms. "This is Earth. We are no longer your prey. We are your storm." And with that, the Earth fleet vanished into the black, leaving behind only wreckage. In the Dravak capital, far across the galaxy, a new report arrived. Dozens of Earth attacks, ambushes, strikes, captured ships. The High Council gathered in silence. One elder spoke slowly. "We expected fear, but they came with fire." Another asked, "Should we retreat?" The room stayed quiet, because no one had ever asked that before. On a distant planet once controlled by the Dravak, a rebellion began. Aliens in chains broke free. They took up old weapons. And for the first time in years, they had hope. They painted one word on the walls: Earth. In the shadows of space, more Earthships moved quietly. Some carried soldiers. Others carried supplies to help free worlds. This wasn't just about winning a war anymore. It was about changing the galaxy. One planet at a time. General Hayes stood in front of a private satellite feed, watching Vega's team return home. He placed one hand on the glass and whispered, "You wanted a fight." Then he smiled. "Now you've got one." Far beyond Earth's orbit, in the dark void of space, an ancient alien relay station hummed quietly. It was older than any living species in the nearby galaxies. Inside, a council of alien leaders gathered around a glowing table. They came from different worlds, different shapes and sizes. Some had scales, others fur, some eyes all over their heads. The leader, a tall figure named Threx, spoke first. "We have watched the war on Earth," Threx said slowly. "We have seen the Dravak fall like never before." A murmur went around the room. "I never thought I would say this," another leader whispered, "but Earth fights with a strength we have never seen." Threx nodded. "Their warriors are strong. Their leaders are wise. They do not fight for power, but for survival, for freedom." On Earth, the news was quiet. People had no idea what was happening far away. But underground, in a secret command center, General Hayes received a strange message. It was encrypted and sent through many layers of space communication. "We have received a call," said the officer beside him. "From an unknown coalition." Hayes leaned forward, eyes sharp. "Play it." The room fell silent. A clear voice began speaking in perfect English. "People of Earth," the voice said, "we are the Galactic Council. We have watched your courage. We have seen your fight. You are not alone." In the council chamber, Threx smiled. "The humans have inspired us, but can they be trusted?" asked a sharp-eyed alien from the far side. "We have no choice," Threx replied. "The Dravak Empire threatens us all." "Then we send help?" asked another. "Not yet," Threx said. "We test their true strength first." Back on Earth, General Hayes stood before his officers. "This message means more than it seems," he said. "We have all eyes waiting in the stars. But they watch carefully." One young officer raised his hand. "Sir, what if the council is bluffing?" Hayes shook his head. "Then we prove we're worth the fight." In a distant galaxy, a resistance group received the same message. A small blue planet Earth was becoming a symbol of hope. Their leader, a fierce warrior named Varkan, clenched his fists. "The humans fight with fire," he said. "If they survive, we survive." Meanwhile, in the Dravak capital, the news of the council's message spread like wildfire. Supreme Commander Zorak slammed his fist against the table. "They plot against us," he growled. "They want to use Earth as a weapon." His advisor whispered, "They fear Earth's power." Zorak smiled darkly. "Then we crush that power before it grows." On Earth, Vega prepared her fleet for a new mission. "We are not alone," she said to her team, "but we cannot depend on others. We fight with our own strength first." Her second-in-command asked, "What if help comes?" Vega smiled. "Then we welcome it. But until then, we make history." The Galactic Council's message spread through space like wildfire. More alien worlds started watching Earth. Some sent secret envoys, others prepared for war. But one thing was clear: the galaxy was changing. In the darkest corner of space, an old Dravak veteran whispered to himself, "They don't understand." "But soon," he said, "they will learn. Earth is no longer just a planet. It is a signal, a warning." The war was no longer just Earth's fight. That had become the galaxy's war, and the message was clear: the stars would never be the same. The silence in the United Earth Command Center was heavy. Every screen glowed with images of ships, soldiers, and distant stars. Outside the thick glass windows, the Earth hung blue and bright, peaceful for now, but everyone knew it was only a calm before the storm. General Hayes stood before his officers, his face grim. "The Galactic Council has set a date," he said. "Judgment Day." A young officer blinked. What does that mean, sir?" Hayes took a deep breath. "It means we are no longer just fighting for Earth. Soon, the galaxy's greatest powers will decide if humanity deserves to live or if we should be crushed." In a dark chamber on a distant moon, Supreme Commander Zorak listened to the news. The Council had called for a great meeting, an assembly of alien worlds to decide the fate of Earth. Zorak clenched his fists. "They think we will bow." His advisor warned, "The Council's judges are powerful. They might see Earth as a threat." Zorak smiled coldly. "Then we show them what happens when you threaten the Dravak Empire." Back on Earth, Commander Vega stood on the deck of the Spearhead. Looking at the stars, her second-in-command asked, "Judgment Day, what should we expect?" Vega didn't turn. "Nothing good. But we don't wait for judgment. We make our own." Suddenly, the ship's alarm beeped. "Incoming transmission." The comm officer said that the screen flickered, then showed a starry council chamber filled with many alien species. A tall being with shimmering skin spoke. "People of Earth," the voice echoed, "you have fought bravely. But now you must answer the Council's questions. Your actions will be judged." General Hayes watched the broadcast with his team. "We need to prepare a defense," he said. "But more than that, we need to prove who we are." One scientist asked, "How do we convince dozens of alien races that we deserve to live?" Hayes smiled grimly. with truth, with strength, and with heart. At the council, the judges began their questions. Why does your species fight so fiercely? One asked, her voice calm but sharp. Vega answered clearly, because we want freedom, because we want to protect our home. Your methods are violent, another judge said. Why should we trust a species that kills without mercy? Vega paused, because when we fight, it's for survival, not conquest. Meanwhile, in a secret chamber, Dr. Yusuf prepared a message of her own. This is more than war, she told Mason. It's our chance to show the galaxy who humans really are. They recorded video stories of Earth's history, of kindness, courage, and hope. We are not just warriors, Yusuf said. We are creators, survivors, dreamers. Back on the mothership, Zorak plotted his final move. If they survive, the Council's judgment, he said, we will destroy them. But even his own officers looked uncertain. One whispered, the humans are not what they seem. As the Council deliberated, Earth waited. The tension was thick. The future unknown. Then the lead judge spoke. We find humanity complicated. A pause, but worthy of existence. Cheers erupted in Earth's command centers and homes. Vega smiled through tears. Hayes nodded slowly. We've passed the test. But the judge continued. This judgment is not an end. It is a beginning. The galaxy watches. Earth must prove itself again and again. Zorak's fury was silent, but it burned deep. This is far from over, he muttered. On Earth, children looked up at the night sky with new hope. A small boy asked his mother, will they come again? She smiled. Yes, but we are ready. The stars twinkled above. And Earth stood taller than ever. The stars had changed. No longer distant dots in the sky. They were the borders of a new era. In the Galactic Council chambers, a new leader stood before the assembly. It was Commander Vega from Earth. Her voice was calm but firm. We fought. We survived. And now we asked to stand not just as fighters, but as equals. Back on Earth, General Hayes watched the live broadcast. He turned to his officers. This is what we have worked for. A seat at the table. One officer smiled. Do you think they will accept us? Hayes nodded slowly. They have no choice. In the crowd, aliens from many worlds watched Vega's speech. Some whispered doubts. Others nodded with respect. A furry delegate leaned toward his neighbor and said, the humans are different. Stronger, the neighbor replied. Meanwhile, deep in a quiet lab, Dr. Alina Yusuf looked over new star maps. The galaxy is opening, she said. Trade routes, new worlds, old enemies, all within reach. Mason stood beside her. What? Now, we build, she answered. Not just weapons, culture, science, trust. Suddenly, alarms rang across Earth's command centers. Unknown fleet approaching, a pilot reported. Not hostile, but large. General Hayes watched the screen. Open communication. On the view screen, ships appeared, different shapes, colors, and lights. A peaceful voice came through. We come in peace. The Galactic Council welcomes Earth as a new power. Let us share the stars. Vega smiled. This is not the end of the war, she said quietly, but the start of something greater. Her team prepared to meet the newcomers. Are we ready? Far from the new alliances, old enemies watched. Zorak's message was clear. We lost this battle, he growled. But the war has just begun. On Earth, children looked at the night sky with wonder. A small girl tugged her father's hand. Will the stars be safe now? He smiled. For now. But it's up to us to keep them safe. The galaxy had changed. And humanity stood tall, no longer just survivors, but leaders of the stars. The age of humanity had begun.